What two jobs are fine on their own, but suspicious if you work both of them? I've been a locksmith for 12 years. Started right out of high school when my uncle got me an apprenticeship at his shop. It's honest work. People lock themselves out, need new deadbolts, want their locks rekeyed after a breakup. About 5 years ago, I picked up a second job installing home security systems. The pay was better, and I already understood how locks work, so learning about alarms and cameras was pretty easy. Both jobs were completely legitimate. I had licenses, insurance, good reviews online. During the day, I'd install security systems for this company called Safeguard Home Protection. Evenings and weekends, I'd do locksmith calls through my uncle's business. Everything was fine until last month when I got called to the Hendricks house on Maple Street. Their teenage daughter had locked herself out while the parents were at work. Simple job. I picked the lock, let her in, charged them $50. 2 weeks later, I got another call to the same street. The Wilson family 3 houses down wanted a complete security system installed. Cameras, motion sensors, smart locks, the whole package. I didn't think anything of it. Nice neighborhood, people have money, they want to protect their homes. I spent 2 days there setting everything up, explaining how the system worked, showing them the mobile app. But then Mrs. Wilson started asking weird questions like how often do locksmiths get called to this neighborhood? And whether I'd ever done work for any of her neighbors recently. I mentioned helping the Hendricks girl a couple weeks back, just making conversation. Mrs. Wilson got this strange look on her face and asked if I knew about all the break-ins that had been happening lately. Break-ins? I hadn't heard about any break-ins. She told me 4 houses on their street had been burglarized in the past month, all during the day when people were at work. Nothing violent, just someone getting in, taking electronics and jewelry, then leaving. That's when I realized how bad this looked. I'm a guy who knows how to get into any house, and I also know exactly what security systems people have and how to disable them. The next day, Detective Morrison showed up at my shop. Real polite, said he was just asking around about the break-ins. But then he started asking very specific questions about my schedule, which houses I'd worked on, whether I kept records of security codes. I showed him everything, my appointment book, receipts, even the background checks both companies run on me every year. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket, let alone robbed anyone, but I could see the suspicion in his eyes. Here's a guy who can pick any lock in under 2 minutes, and he also knows the security codes and camera blind spots for half the houses in the neighborhood. Word started spreading around town. People would whisper when I walked into the hardware store. Customers started asking if someone else could handle their locksmith calls. The Safeguard company got nervous and put me on administrative leave while they investigated. My uncle had to explain to customers why they might want to use a different locksmith for a while. 3 weeks later, they caught the real burglar. Turned out to be Mrs. Wilson's 17-year-old nephew who was staying with them for the summer. Kid had been watching people leave for work, then climbing through unlocked windows and back doors. He'd been bragging to his friends about how easy it was to rob houses when you know the neighborhood routine. One of them finally snitched after he tried to sell them a stolen laptop. Detective Morrison called to apologize, said they had to investigate every lead, and the combination of my 2 jobs made me an obvious suspect. He understood why I looked guilty on paper. Safeguard gave me my job back with a raise and an apology. My uncle's business picked up again once people heard the real story, but I learned something important. Some job combinations just make people nervous, even when you're completely innocent. Now, when people ask what I do for work, I usually just say I'm a locksmith. It's easier than explaining why a guy who can break into your house and disable your alarm system is actually one of the good guys. The funny part? Mrs. Wilson hired me to change all her locks and upgrade her security system after they arrested her nephew. Turns out she felt safer with the guy everyone suspected than the family member who was actually robbing people.